Good morning and welcome to my class. This is English Core for class 12. I'm really happy that I'm able to put this across to you. Before I start my class, I want to give you a wonderful quote. Here it goes. There will never be a better time to be the best you than today. Weird, isn't it? You may think, what's good about this time? But let me emphasize, let me prove my point. These are the best times for you as learners and for me as teachers. Why so? I have some points to make. Point 1, it gives us freedom. It gives us freedom to start or stop at the time we want. Second, flexibility. You don't have to get into one certain time frame. You can just learn when you wish to. So there is great amount of flexibility. Third point, you can choose the mode and medium. So tell me, isn't this the best time to become the best version of yourself? Yes, according to me, I believe these are the best times. So all the best to each one of you. I'm sure as students of Rajkumar College, you are capable of making the most of these times. And I assure you that we are there, your mentors, to support you in everything that you wish to do. So, let me start off by telling you that my last class was on reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is section A. It comprises of 2 questions. The first question is based on reading or reading comprehension, where you learners ought to answer the questions that follow after a passage. And the questions can be varied. You have MCQs, you have question based on vocabulary and short questions. You are all familiar with that. So I do not need to teach you that. What's new to you or rather a little different to you is the question number 2. That is note making and summary writing. Now question 2 is of 10 marks and it's divided into 2 aspects. The first one is you've got to make notes and the second one is you need to write a summary, and both carry 5 marks each. I'm going to continue with my class explaining to you the nuances of note making and summary writing. But before I go there, I need to remind you about something. You've got it. I think you know what I mean. I want to remind you of my assignment. Last class, I have given you some work and I expect that you have already started working on it. But for all those of you who do not know or aren't aware of what work I have assigned, I would like to just repeat myself. First thing I wanted you is to complete all the practice questions of reading comprehension from your all-in-one, and you had to put them or do them in your English literature book. And the second assignment, I asked you to grab a book of your choice. Select any book of your choice and start reading, because I am going to assign you book review, and I'm going to also take a class on how you can make a book review or how you can actually come up with a very good book review. I'm going to take a special class on that, and so you will be expected to do a book review. All this work has to be done in this tenure. And remember, because we, according to the new curriculum for class 12, 20 marks is internal assessment, and all of these things fall into that. So I want you to really start off on a regular and consistent basis and complete your task at ease without actually creating any burden, right? So let's begin. Note making. I told you something about note making, how important it is. I actually discussed why note making is important and why CBSE is so keen to put it for you class 12 student, so that it can help you in your future. So step 1, if you remember step 1, and if you're taking down some notes, I'll go slow with it. Please jot down. Step 1 is read, of course. Read the passage carefully. right? Step 2, after you have read that, you ask yourself, what is this passage talking about? And when you have the answer for what this passage is about, you're actually getting your title. Step 3, you reread or you come again for reading, but this time you're not skimming through it, you are actually scanning. Hence, you're going to underline the main points. Remember, you have completed 3 steps, right? After step 3, after having underlined, now starts your really, you can say, a really challenging task. What you got to do now is you have to organize all that you have underlined, you have to organize them into headings, subheadings and sub-subheadings. And you got to number them, or you got to follow a numbering pattern or indenting pattern, which I explained in the last class. And for your further reference, you can always look back into your all-in-one. It is mentioned there, right? So you will then be organizing your points that you have underlined into headings, main headings, subheadings and sub-subheadings, right? Okay, so far so good, right? Now, what are the things you need to take care? The first thing, you do not need to write complete sentences. That sounds really good, isn't it? No complete sentence is required. You can use phrases, right? You can use phrases and you can make it as short as possible. So you can avoid any kind of grammatical items in order to reduce it. The meaning has to be conveyed. The second very important point is the question itself will have you or will ask you to use abbreviation. Minimum 4, but you can use as many as you like. So abbreviations, what are abbreviations? They are the short forms. You have standard abbreviations which you can look up into a dictionary or all in one. Of course, they have mentioned some of the abbreviations that are commonly used. If not, you can make. Now you get the freedom. Actually, you really are lucky. You can make some abbreviations of your own. And one more thing, the symbols, all that you love to do in your literature answers, which I do not like, you know that. But here you can use them. Signs and signals are permitted, right? So you are allowed to use signs and symbols. So how does it look? Let me just explain the layout. Box, yes, mandatory. Box is mandatory. Now that you may think, why is that so? Particularly for presentation, box, the first thing you put is the title. Okay, write title and give your title. And then you begin to do your note making. You put your heading, subheading, sub-subheading and follow a proper numbering pattern. Once you have done that, at the end, please note this, at the end, in the corner, in the center, even in the side, if you have all in one, you have seen that they put it in the side. So the place actually doesn't matter. What matters is you ought to give us. You need to mention the abbreviations used. So whatever you have used, maybe you have made some on your own, you have to give it at the end under the heading key to abbreviation or only abbreviation and mention them in a box and draw, and you actually sum up note making. So note making is done, right? And this you are doing for 5 marks. Again, I would just like to repeat what's important: proper numbering pattern, no sentences, you need to use abbreviation and mention them, right? Extremely easy. Now once you have done that, you must check whether your notes have covered up everything that's important in the passage. If you feel that your notes do not convey anything, any meaning, it's clear that your note making is not up to the mark. So the best way to evaluate yourself is to see your notes. Actually, your notes will tell you whether you have done a good job. So you can self-assess this before you put it forward to a mentor or an examiner, right? So once this is done, Now let's move on to the next, summary writing. Pay attention, because summary writing is completely new. I don't think you did that in class 12. So this is something new. Summary writing, it is just, in short, if I would say, it's more like précis, or it's like you got to shorten the whole passage into 1/3. Yes, you got it right. The whole passage into 1/3, and you have word limit. So that means you have to use really less words, isn't it? And less words is challenging. Why so? Because you got to know the words that you have to use in place of many words. So you need some vocabulary upgradation. I'm sure you need them. And what will you do? You don't need to start with this passage says and this passage describes. You just begin. In summary, you can draw a rectangular box again. Put the title above the box or inside the box. That's okay. Just start. Now what are you going to put there if you have the restrictions of words, or you're not supposed to use many words? Obviously, what goes into a summary are the main points. Just hinting, just a gist, just the main things. You just have to take the main things or the main points that actually convey what the author or the passage is about. So as simple as that, but though it is a very brief explanation of the passage, the challenge lies, you cannot use abbreviations, you cannot use phrases. Now you have to get back into really the quality of language. That means you have to use standard English language, and therefore you need practice. I hope I have made myself very clear with note making and summary writing, right? So carefully listen to me. Practice at least 2 for the moment, because I have already assigned you a lot of things to do, and I know it's time consuming. So 2, is that okay? 2 questions, practice questions on note making and summary, I would like to add on as my work for you. Only 2 questions as practice, and you will see that though it appears to be very simple, it takes time and practice to get about it. So students, it's my humble request, start off doing it. Open your all-in-one and have a thorough look at what I have said, and then you can refer to this class often in order to get guidance, and then start by practicing question 1 and question 2, sample questions 1 and 2. You can do this practice questions from all-in-one for note making, and this adds on to all the assignment that I have given you so far in reading comprehension. With this, we are done with section A, and only practice will make you perfect. And I'm sure you all can score very good marks in reading, because it is student friendly and comparatively easy to attempt and score. So I would like you to really now take in your assignment seriously, and you have to put all this into your English literature book. Let me just give you a reminder. First, reading comprehension, all practice questions go there. Second, a book of your choice, and of course in my next class I'm going to take book review, so I'll explain to you how that has to be done, right, and how we'll go about that. So for the moment, just reading a book on daily basis. And third, which I have added today, right, 2 questions, only 2 questions from all-in-one practice book. Practice question 2, 2 questions to be attempted, and put them again in English literature book. With this, I will end my class. Really, we do miss the class and the physical presence of all of you, but I think we can still go on like this. Good wishes to all of you. Until we meet again, be healthy, be safe, and loads of blessing to all of you. See you. Bye.